So with episode 2, Magneto took over the X-Men. There are 2 Jean Greys, and Storm left the team, which I'm still pissed about.
Only to then sometimes watch it break in a blink.
So we're here, X-Men 97, episode 3. Let's get into the review. And check out my shirt. The GOAT. Bishop. My boy Bishop. I love Bishop. I'm coming hard with this X-Men merch. Let's go ahead and do the theme song. So the episode begins, all the X-Men, they're sitting in the living room trying to figure out why there are 2 Jean Greys. Now let's just go ahead and get this out the way. The woman in the aqua shirt, that is Madeline Pryor. The woman that's in the dirty hospital robe, that is the actual Jean Grey.
What do you mean the actual Jean Grey?
Beast drops the bomb in front of everybody.
Jean Doe is older, the proper age. Yours, while identical, is not.
Oh, Jean is a clone.
And Madeline Pryor has been posing as a Jean Grey, and she is a clone. And so Madeline is seen having a breakdown, which I'm just like, her reaction, it just doesn't really make sense to me.
Impossible. Your science could have been manipulated. Enough tests.
What's with the dramatics? You're not the real Jean. You're a clone. So I understand you're kind of getting the realization in your mind that, whoa, like, my whole life is an entire lie and I have actual memories from Jean. But the dramatics of her going off on the team and slamming the Petri dish, just like, girl, come on. It's really not that deep. And then on top of that, she turns to Scott. Scott's confused. Scott is standing there confused because he's like, wait a minute, this woman that I married and this woman that I had a child with is not the actual woman that I love. So of course he's standing there confused, trying to figure out what's going on. Scott doesn't know what to believe, which is valid. It is a valid emotion because it's kind of like a surprise situation. Like, none of us knows what to believe. Why are there 2 Jeans in our living room? What the hell is going on? And then she makes a stupid comment talking about some
Storm would have believed me.
So now why am I in it? And you could have did it.
See how I get it wrong because you never apologized.
Madeline, sweetheart, Storm would have been just as confused as every other X-Men standing in that living room. Cut the dramatics. So Madeline moves to a quiet location. It's her own little bedroom. She has her baby and she's like rocking, taking care of it. And then we are introduced to an infamous X-Men villain, one who I cannot stand, to be honest. Mr. Sinister. He actually comes on the baby monitor and then he makes a whole dramatic reveal.
Most refer to me as Mr. Sinister. But you can call me Father.
In Mr. Sinister, he reveals, like, yes, you are a clone. I made you. My whole reasoning is for you to have sex with Scott and produce a child so I can kidnap that child and experiment on his genes and make him one of the most powerful mutants of all time.
I ain't asked you all that. Come on, kids. Let's move away from this long-winded hole.
It's a very sick ass plan. It's like, sir, this is what you choose to do with your life? Like, this is not normal. This is not normal whatsoever. And he's like bragging and boasting about it. And he does his little evil laugh. And it's just like, oh my God. Mr. Sinister is just, he's just one of those question mark X-Men villains where it's just like, why do you exist? Why do you exist?
Time to wake up, my queen. Struggle, of course. Your mind is flawless.
She transforms her outfit and she turns into the Goblin Queen, which is a direct reference from the comics. So then we move to a very funny moment, and I use the term funny very loosely because everybody just think Morph is some big grand comedian. I don't think he's funny. I think he's corny.
Looks like Magneto and Rogue have the Danger Room next. Oh, wow. Rogue's really training her stamina with the new boss.
Okay.
After Madeline transforms into the Goblin Queen, she utilizes her telepathy and she torments the X-Men. That's pretty much what she does. First, we see Morph. He is imagining Wolverine taking a shower naked.
Logan? One too many redheads for you. Here, need some help with those hard-to-reach spaces.
Hey, what's happening here? What exactly is happening here? Morph, you are...
You are gay!
And then we see Gambit. He walks into a conjoined Magneto and Rogue.
Get on back to the swamp with the rest of them nasty thieving critters, man.
Oh my god. I thought this was a classy party.
This whole segment was just very, very weird. Can I just say that? It was just very weird, very creepy. I'm sure that was supposed to be the point of it, but it was just like, who came up with these illusions? Like, what the hell? So then we see Jubilee and Roberto. They are watching TV and some freakish monster is coming at them. And the last thing we see, Scott and Bishop, they run into Madeline's room because Beast told them, like, after analyzing her genes, he realized that Mr. Sinister is behind cloning Jean Grey. So they run in and they get tormented by some monsters dressed as Professor Charles Xavier, and the other monster is dressed as Shard, which is Bishop's sister.
You abandoned me, Bishop. Where's your home?
Again, it's just all weird. So then after everybody breaks out of their solo illusion, they meet up in the hallway and, you know, they're having a panic attack. Wolverine's like, what the is going on? And Morph is like,
We're in hell.
it's nothing but fire and brimstones and demons. And I'm pretty sure Donald Trump is down there as well.
Fight!
So the X-Men, they're getting attacked by demons and they're fighting them off or whatever. Beast, he hops on one of the flying demons and he's trying to fight it off, but he ends up falling off the demon. He doesn't even punch it or doesn't do any type of damage from it, and he's asking for help. So Bishop has to throw Wolverine to intercept Beast so Beast won't fall on his ass or fall in, you know, the hot lava.
You smell like burned hair.
And I'm just sitting here looking like, Beast, you're so strong and your strength, you don't even know how to utilize your own strength. Like, why do you need assistance? Like, what's happening here? But okay, Beast. Whatever. But aside from Beast acting like a weak ass bitch, the reason why I put on this shirt in particular, showcasing my boy Bishop, is because of what happens in this next scene. Bishop drops down and he's like, psych, go ahead and light it up.
Yo, Cyclops, hit me.
So Psych uses his lasers to power Bishop up, because if you don't know, Bishop's powers is to absorb energy and redirect it at his foes. So Cyclops is powering Bishop up and he's like, all right, I'm finna clear the board.
Time for an exorcism, punks.
That's what I'm talking about. You better do that, Lucas Bishop. That's my boy.
You're welcome.
And so then this big giant demon sentinel just comes out the lava and he's getting ready to attack the X-Men. And it's like, what the hell is going on? For full disclosure, for any non-comic readers who are watching this and is like, what's going on? That's Madeline's powers in the comics. When she is transformed into the Goblin Queen, she literally turns any and everybody into demons. Now, I actually have this comic. It's right here. This is X Factor 37. And as you can see, this is Madeline. This is her son, and she is fighting the X-Men, and everybody here is turned into demons. So that's a little explanation as to why the X-Men are fighting so many demonic-looking figures, because when Madeline turns into the Goblin Queen, that's her power. So next thing you know, Jean, the real Jean Grey, she comes down and she's like, enough. And, you know, Jean is an Omega level mutant. She has Omega level telepathy. So she just shatters the entire illusion that Madeline is putting the X-Men through. All right, so then Madeline reveals herself to the entire X-Men in her new outfit, and she has baby Nathan in some little demonic magic bubble, and she's upset because she sees Scott comforting Jean, and it's just like, babe, you just put the X-Men through hell, literally. What are you mad about? No! So Magneto and Rogue, they joined the party. It was like, where the hell was y'all at? You know, first all the X-Men were in the living room, and now y'all just disappeared and just missed the entire action. So Magneto just cuts to the chase and is like, let's go ahead and get Mr. Sinister. We're going to go jump that nigga.
Fan out.
They walk in and they see Madeline, and she's just sitting there on the throne.
I knew you'd follow, Scott.
Where's of your mother?
I am power!
And now this fight scene right here, the scene between Madeline versus Magneto. Magnetism versus telekinesis. This was good.
Give us the boy, you brimstone clone.
So then he takes the metal from the windows and he's just charging it at her. And Madeline, she's putting up a fight. Madeline goes from defense to offense. She uses the glass from the windows to overpower Magneto, rip through his shield, and pretty much just drop a whole shard of glass on his ass. So then Scott just blasts Madeline right in the face to the point where she's bleeding. And this freaky asshole is using the blood as lipstick.
Yes, the camera loves your nastiness.
So then back at the X Mansion, Jean is having a very difficult time trying to control her powers. Her memories are gone. You know, her memories are faded. Mr. Sinister erased all of her memories because he's a telepath as well. And he put all of her memories into Madeline Pryor. So she's forgetting how to use her powers and it's taking over her mind. Wolverine is on the bed with Jean and he's trying to get Jean to focus.
Concentrate on my mind, Jeannie. Just my mind.
Logan, you're not slick. You're not slick. You see that Jean is at a very vulnerable moment and you're utilizing that vulnerable moment to make yourself available. You're not slick, Wolverine. So it looked like Jean and Wolverine was about to kiss, but that gets interrupted because Jean senses that Scott is in danger. Jean uses her telepathy without the help of Cerebro. See, that's how powerful of a telepath Jean is. She does not need any device to find Scott and stop Madeline from torturing Scott.
This ends now.
And she pulls Madeline into the astral plane and we see a battle between two telepaths. And I love seeing this telepathy battle because it reminded me of what actually happened in the comics. Jean and Madeline, they duke it out in a telepathy battle in the comics. This is X Factor number 38. Similar to the comic, just like in this episode, Jean is the stronger telepath. Let's just be like, this is an Omega level mutant. Even though Sinister cloned Jean, he was not able to replicate the amount of powers and the limitless energy that Jean has in terms of telepathy. Like, he couldn't do it.
Tell me who I am.
She breaks the telepathic hold that Sinister has over Madeline. That's how powerful of a telepath Jean Grey is. Do not mess with my girl. So now that Madeline is in her right mind and she realizes, like, yeah, I'm a mother and some creepy ass mutant has my child, she grabs Scott and they take the fight to Sinister. It's like, hello, bitch. That's what we should have been doing from the first place, but whatever.
What?
You stay away from our son! Your powers are nothing against mine.
Low-key, I wanted them to duke it out for, like, you know, probably 30, 40 more seconds. Like, I like the exchange of powers between Sinister versus Scott and Madeline, but it is what it is. Sinister gets the upper hand because he's like, since you broke your child out of my test tube and interrupted the process of him trying to be invulnerable, you have now made him sick. And we can see Nathan developing a disease, and it turns his skin into like a cybernetic green and yellow, and it's coming all over, and baby Nathan is coughing, and it's like, what did this sick bastard do to this infant child?
You monster! What have you done?
All right, so back at the X Mansion, Beast is like, listen, Sinister was exposing your child to a whole bunch of deadly diseases. And one of those diseases is the legacy virus. And that's exactly what Nathan has. And there's no cure for the legacy virus. Your baby is about to die. So Madeline comes up with the bright idea.
But what if there's a cure in yours, Bishop? In the future?
I do know a guy there. Smart. Can build anything.
Now, hold up. You know I love me some Scott Summers. He is the GOAT. He is the icon. He is the legend. He is the first X-Men. Don't play with Scott Summers. This scene was stupid. Let me tell you why it was stupid. So Scott is having an emotional breakdown of the idea of sending his son into the future without him joining his son. Okay. So then he makes a callback to him being an orphan.
Oh, no. There has to be another way. I won't be like my father. I won't abandon my son.
He felt like his father abandoned him. And he does not want to repeat that pattern, even though it's not necessarily true that Corsair, that's the name of Scott's father, abandoned him. But we're not going to get into the semantics of the comics. Just know Scott does not want to repeat the same behavior of his own father abandoning him.
Don't any of you know how it feels to be abandoned?
Valid. Absolutely valid. What's not valid is him walking out of the room.
I can't be a part of this. I'm sorry.
Scott, you just said you did not want to abandon your son, and now you're actually abandoning your son by walking out of the room. That doesn't make any sense. And you know what's more up? Scott doesn't even say goodbye to his son. Madeline is the one that's saying goodbye to a baby Nathan, and she hands him off to Bishop, and Bishop walks baby Nathan into the future. And it was so sad because it's like Madeline is standing there. She realized that she's a clone. She was working under the influence of Sinister until Jean broke the connection. And now her son is sick with a deadly virus, and she had to send him off into the future, send him off into the unknown. And her husband, Scott Summers, is nowhere to be found. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, we see that Madeline is actually exiting the X-Mansion, and Jean stops her, and they have a conversation.
An unknowable future built on an unknowable past. My next life will be mine. Farewell, Madeline. Farewell, Jean.
And then the episode ends with Scott and Jean. They are in their bedroom, and they're just staring at each other. All right, now I have a lot to say about this episode. First of all, let me address the criticism. A lot of X-Men fans and people who are not X-Men fans, but they watch the show, they said that there is a pacing issue with X-Men 97. Given what has transpired in episode 2 and given what has transpired in episode 3, a lot has gone down. A lot has gone down with this particular episode. Now, for people who are X-Men comic readers, I understood everything that was going on. Now, for the people who are not comic readers, they're probably trying to figure out, like, okay, like, what's going on? They should have broke this up. But I'm just going to let you guys know, they handled this particular storyline beautifully. Because in the comics, is way more complex. Madeline made her first appearance in the X-Men comics in Uncanny X-Men 168. Her last appearance was in this comic, and this was X Factor number 38. And her last appearance in the Uncanny X-Men comic before this one was Uncanny X-Men 278. We are talking about like a good 15 to 20 comics explaining who Madeline Pryor is, how did she come about, and her roles of being in the lives of Scott Summer and the X-Men. It's a very complicated, twisted storyline. And I appreciate the writers and the producers for taking the complications of Madeline's history within the X-Men and simplifying it into one episode, because this is the very first time we have seen Madeline in any type of X-Men media. She has not appeared in any of the previous X-Men animated shows, including the original series. She has not appeared in any of the X-Men films. This is the very first time that Madeline Pryor has appeared in X-Men media. And this is the very first time that any X-Men writer and producer has tackled this storyline, because this was a very, very, very controversial storyline. A clone of Jean Grey, Scott having sex with this clone and making a baby, but then discovering that, you know, the real Jean is alive. And in the comics, Scott actually abandons both Madeline and the child just to get back with Jean, who's just been re-resurrected by the Phoenix. It's a very up story in the comics. So the fact that they was able to take this storyline and simplify it for a single episode, to me, it was job well done. As far as the pacing issue, you guys have to understand, this season is only 10 episodes. We only got 10 episodes. I don't know why they didn't do a whole 26 episodes, but we only got 10 episodes. That's number one. Number two, this is on Disney Plus. This is a streaming service. There are no commercials. So they're going to be feeding us more content. It's not going to be any type of breaks for commercial advertisements. No, like if it's 30 minutes, they're going to utilize every single second within the 30 minutes to push the content out there. So we're being fed a lot. We are being fed a lot, and it's only episode 3. But I enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy it. But again, I'm an X-Men nerd, so I can understand why people are like all over the place saying, oh, it's a pacing issue and there's too much going on. I'm just letting y'all know they are handling this series appropriately. Like, I absolutely love it. This episode is a 10 out of 10. Oh, by the way, another thing that pissed me off in this episode, Bishop is gone. Bishop is gone. All right. So we are in episode 3. We don't have Storm, and we don't have Bishop. 2 X-Men are gone, and the first 2 X-Men that are off the team are the 2 black X-Men. What the What are we doing? What are we doing? Did a Republican write this episode? Like, oh, Storm and Bishop, they are both DEI hires of the X-Men, so we need to get rid of them. What the hell? What the hell? I'm aggravated that Storm's not on the team, but I'm also pissed off that Bishop is not on the team because I wanted a full-blown series of Bishop being a part of the X-Men the entire duration because I love Bishop. And to be honest, Bishop has limited screen time. The only other X-Men media outside of the original series that showcase Bishop and his powers, his weaponry, how he fights, and his just rawness is Wolverine and the X-Men. They gave him a storyline where they was able to show Bishop in the future leading the X-Men while Wolverine was leading the X-Men in the present day. And I absolutely love that. But I wanted to see in this series Bishop working with the X-Men beyond just 3 episodes. Why did y'all have to send him into the future with Nathan? Man, y'all could have thought of something else. Damn. No Storm, no Bishop. I don't know how to feel about this, but I am enjoying the series, but damn. Bishop is gone. Storm is gone. What the Whatever. That's my review on episode 3. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all on episode 4. Deuces.